This is the Central Florida ASPA meeting here at Extension Orange County, and we're going to be talking with Kevin Camm. He's the District Extension Director for the Central District. Kevin is the Extension Director for Orange County, and his program areas are community resource development and sustainable agriculture. He has been involved in cooperative extension for 15 years in Virginia and in Florida. And he is extremely passionate about urban extension, and we are excited to listen to his presentation. So we're going to go ahead and turn it over to Kevin. Thank you, Kevin, for joining us.
Hello, everyone, virtually and in person today. Labeled my presentation of the best kept secret, because many people, when they ask me what I do and I say I work for IFAS Extension, it's usually followed up with, and what is that? What do you do? So I'm going to dive into that a little bit. And I believe that every one of us has a story to tell. And I'll share a little bit of extension story and why we're here. Just to give you I'm not going to go too far into the weeds, but I'll share some of that. But again, thank you for the warm introduction. I appreciate that. Yes, I am Associate District Extension Director for the Central Districts, and there's 11 offices of those in the Central District, and I'm also the County Extension Director here at the IFAS Extension Orange County office in Orlando. I grew up as a 4-H'er, which I'll share what that is, in Virginia, and really fell in love with the program, and then became an extension agent in a small county. When I say small county, it's probably like probably two blocks here in Orlando, because there's a population of 12,000 people. But and then I transferred on over to the city of Lynchburg and really became passionate about urban extension and doing traditional extension work, but innovating it, being a little bit more entrepreneurial to try to do more with less. So I just want to dive on in if that's all right, and we'll rock and roll. Okay. I've got my notes. Usually I'm just going to refer to my notes here, just for reference if I have numbers and whatnot. So, but we'll continue to go along. So let's see here. I'll just do this. Use this. So what is extension? So we're pretty unique in extension, and that we're a sort of a premier non-formal education system that is a part of a national effort. When I say national effort, we are located in every single state in the United States. We're also located in Puerto Rico as well. So we are all over the place, and we are unique in a sense that we are funded by 3 levels of government: our federal government, our state government, and local government. And I always just joke, because there's not that many instances where 3 levels of government work together to do something. But our federal agency that we do fall under is the USDA, so the United States Department of Agriculture, and there's a little department within there. It's NIFA or NIFO, however you want to pronounce it, and that's the National Institute of Food and Agriculture, and that's where extension is. And they send their funds to our state government, and then it funnels to the University of Florida, and then the county government invests in us. So we are the boots on the ground of the land-grant university system, and in our case, it's Florida. So I like to use analogies a lot just to put a visual perspective, and that's why I put this 3-legged stool up here. So each leg represents the different governments who fund us, if you will, and then we're the part on the top, that the foundation that supports the people of the community that we work and live in. So the land grant mission, it started actually with the Morrill Act that's founded land grant universities or land grants. A lot of people were were upset at the time because higher education was meant for the elitists, and it was really focused on classical education. And the majority of people that went to these colleges, such as William and Mary, Yale, Harvard, were coming out and they were going to go into the religious field. Think about when America was founded and the higher education system was put together. These colleges were basing their knowledge on what it should be, and all they knew was the European model of where they came from. So that's was the basic teachings, but people were revolting. They said, I want to learn more. I want to learn more about agriculture. I want to learn more about engineering and industry, because that's what's going to drive this country forward. So Justin Morrill, a senator in Vermont, said, you know what? We're going to provide land in every single state that will facilitate this new learning. And I've got on the screen that originally they were going to have mechanical arts, agriculture, and military tactics. So I got my master's degree at Virginia Tech, and I worked for them, and that's a land-grant university as well. And they do have a very large military presence as a part of the school. And so that was one of the big facets originally of land-grant universities. But then again, I do want to acknowledge one thing that could be considered controversial with the land-grant university and how the Morrill Act came to be, was that, yes, the federal government gave land to the states to put a state college, but they took that land, and there may have been some folks on there. And I know here in Florida, it was the Seminole tribe, the Native Americans. They did take that land, and now it's there. And so a lot of universities across the United States are, with the current climate, are learning more about what they can do now to move forward with that. There's a lot of good that has come from the land-grant universities, but we need to also acknowledge how it came to be and how we can all work together to move forward. But there then came, so you can see this little map here too. These are all of the land-grant universities across the United States of America. So you can see our partners up in Alabama would be Auburn, and University of Georgia is our land grant in Georgia, and if you come or hail from another state, you can look and find which one. I did this presentation, and one lady said, "I grew up in Iowa, and it was Iowa State 4-H," and yeah, that's the land grant university in Iowa, Iowa State University. But also too, it was changed again because since the original mission was agriculture, it signaled that the United States government was listening to the people. The people wanted more, and they tried to provide it, which is very, very exciting to see that occurred. Now, it did continue to grow. We did have the second Morrill Act, and this is after the land-grant universities were established in every state. Originally, it was the Florida College of Agriculture. Then it moved to Gainesville from Lake City, I think that it was originally. But at any rate, the second Morrill Act of 1890 established what we know now as the HBCUs, the historically black colleges and universities, because they wanted to make sure that these universities sort of go back all the way to what Benjamin Franklin thought, the virtuous school that should be open to all people. It should be open up to everyone, women, men, no matter your color, no matter your race, no matter what your background is. And so it's interesting to see that facet was included in this. And what we had in Tallahassee was the State Normal College for Colored Students. Then now you know it as the Florida A&M University. And also, too, part of this whole land grant system in 1994 we do have tribal colleges as well that has come from that has the land grant status. So I'm going to cover a whole bunch of history in a couple of minutes here. So it's important. So we have the land grant universities. So they started to learn about agriculture at the colleges and at these universities. So that's great. But how does it get back to the people in the states? It doesn't. So they had to figure out, like, how do we do this? Well, first they created the agricultural research experimentation stations, basically research centers or labs. They created those at the university and around the state to do the research on how to grow better, what do plants, so really dive into science behind things. And they're thinking, okay, so now we're getting a lot of good data. But still the question remained, how do we get this information out? So they created movable schools. And in Florida, it was like the Florida Movable School, or I think it was that. But it was just basically a train that would go throughout, and then people would come to it and they would be able to teach. And these, as a result, they had to hire people. They had to hire these special agents to be able to deliver that. So you're starting to see the establishment of cooperative extension and extension agents. So when you think about extension now, it's an extension of the university into the local community. So that's what we are. And so it's very, very interesting. They would go to the farmers. The farmers would come. The farmers would really come for a short period of time, because they had to go back to their land to grow their food. They started to go out and work with the females. So females were hired to go work with the mother or the wife in the household to teach about food preservation, canning, sewing, cleaning the house. And then that sort of established that home demonstration, home economics type of deal, which we know is family consumer sciences. Then the agents with the father would go away, and then the ladies would have their own. Then now we have these special agents that work with the youth, and sort of they would develop these corn clubs. And so they would do their own little research, and they were starting to get more yield than their parents on smaller areas. And now the dad's interested. Hey, what are you doing? So that's how it's sort of established to be extension agent. And the first person that became the first extension agent, he went on to become a dean of a college, was Dr. Seaman Knapp. And his whole big mantra was the basis of what 4-H is now, experiential learning. What a man sees, what a man hears, but at the end, it's about what a man does. He's going to get more out of it by doing the experiment, doing the knowledge. And so you see, this is sort of where we are at this point in time. So we fast forward a little bit to World War I. Extension played a huge role in that. And this was Extension's pretty much biggest test. And I've got some stats here. Just basically what Extension did is that Extension helped the nation meet the needs during wartime by increasing wheat acreage by 47 million acres to 74 million acres in 6 years. That's huge. Through the USDA, they encouraged farm production, marketing, and conserving of perishable products. So they started to teach more and more people about preserving their food and canning and whatnot. And lastly, farm labor shortages, because everybody was fighting in the World War I. They organized the Women's Land Army and the Boys Working Reserve. And this image here is the Women's Land Army. Looks like onions or something, or apples or whatnot, but they're making sure that those foods are all put together. So then we move into the Great Depression. So the Great Depression, these universities and colleges and the USDA started to really push farm management, because at that time, resources were dwindling, money was dwindling, so a person needed to stretch that dollar as far as they could. And so extension agents taught the farmers about how to market and other farm groups about how to buy and sell. And they created some cooperatives through that too. Home economics at that time, the volunteers and the agents would go to the houses again to do more canning and poultry production. Also to home nursing, because they did not have money to go get medical care in the community, to how to do the basics. Sewing. And our Florida home demonstration agents, which these are all images from Florida, they responded by doing canning and clothing repair and selling home produce products during this time. Then we have World War II. It doesn't stop. But our extension services worked with the farmers and families and 4-H club members to make sure that there were enough food production, not for just the communities, but also to be able to send to the soldiers deployed. And each year for 5 years during that war, the total food production increased as that result. And I would say in 1944, the food produced was 38% higher than what it was before the war. And this is all as a direct representation of Extension's work. So then that brings us up to today. And I put this picture, this was shared with our National Association of Agriculture Extension Agents. And I think it depicts what agriculture and what extension agents do now. Water quality, soil health. That we picture extension agents dealing with cows and, sows and hogs and lambs at the 4-H and like the old classic Norman Rockwell painting. But this is it now. I mean, we see the drone. We see the drone, and we're starting to incorporate AI technology, which University of Florida is really pushing AI technology now to be able to go over and fly over an area that a farmer can't get to and see if there are pests and what are the pests, how big the threshold is. So we're extending so many more resources now to farmers and ranchers throughout America and throughout Florida. The number of farms went down from 5.4 million to 1.9 million, and that's huge. But we're still sustaining. Because these farmers now have the knowledge to be able to do things a little bit better. So a little fact here is that in 1950, one farmer really supported in their community around 15 people, whereas back in the early 2000s, one farmer served 140 people with what they did. So I think that's pretty important. But also, too, Extension has evolved over the time. We're not just the traditional agriculture. We start to incorporate STEM. We start to incorporate financial management and literacy. We tackle different things in our communities. And because now only 17% of all Americans live in rural areas. I mean, we're in the city of Orlando, population of 1.5 million people just in this county, Orange County alone. And it's projected to be up to 2 million by 2050. So what do we do? I mean, that's our role. We plant native plants that can sustain, but also it's not going to take too much of inputs. So it's not going to have us putting a whole bunch of fertilizer down or pesticides down. We also live in an urban area where the piece of land that you have to grow on is a patio. There's no soil there. So we teach urban agriculture, and our extension agent here in the middle, Hannah Wooten, is holding up her set it and forget it hydroponic bucket, which basically is a bucket that you can get at a box store with a lid with 3 holes cut in it, and you fill it up with water and put your nutrients in the water, and you set it and forget it. And then several weeks later, you've got a nice head of lettuce like she does right there with that buttercrisp. And then we've also got new things too that we partner that we're always, I think we're a community of learners, and everybody wants to do something really cool. And this is an example of how the University of Florida, one of the colleges there, sent us a whole bunch of tomato plants to give away for free to residents of the county to be citizen scientists. take the tomatoes that you grow, eat them, whatever. Just grow the plant and just tell us how many tomatoes are produced on there. But again, that's another way of how Extension can engage and show people. And then these folks, they're still calling us, hey, do you have any more of those tomatoes? How can I do this now? Yes, question.
Good question. I'm looking at our neighborhoods where they have the food co-op in the neighborhoods. And I'm thinking in terms of outreach. You know, I went to school in Nebraska, the Future Farmers of America. That was one of very few blacks in that organization at the time. But they're branching out more to include. Can you talk about that just for a little while?
So the inclusion of the different races in agriculture? Yes. So we just last year alone, we partnered up with FDAX here, and we hosted the first Black Farmer Meetup, and we brought in honey, beekeepers that made honey, and we actually brought in one person that grows cannabis, which the legal kind. Right. We had a person come from that has 3 urban gardens that supports 3 different communities. And so we're doing that. We're meeting people where we are. We do, of course, we can't do every program here at the office, because how is that going to reach 1.5 million people? But we do go out, and that's my challenge to our extension agents, is to get out there, meet these people where they are, find out the needs of every single community, and see what we can do to teach people. You know, there's some folks that want to do community gardens, and you know, let's face it, that's the great plan. But if the community adopts it, that's the win. But sometimes the community doesn't want to do it, and we can't just put a Band-Aid on certain things too. You know, that's when we're starting to get into community systems and whatnot. But we're here to teach. We're here to educate as much people as we can. We do. Our agent here, one of our ag agents, does beekeeping as part of his. He works with I'm gonna mess up the name, but it's a all Black high school student honey beekeepers that sell their own honey, and it's their own entrepreneurship. They're making profits, which is amazing. Yes, it's a great model, and it is amazing. And also too, being in an urban area, if you don't have bees, they're okay to be on roofs too. So to get that, and we do partner. You know, that is a big thing, because we're fortunate in Orange County that I can put a call out to Miss Shally Wong, one of the mayor's staff, and say, can you help me reach the Asian community? We're seeing a need there, and there's a void. So yeah, and then the Hispanic community, and we're trying to provide some classes and translations for them on some of our things. So we're continuing to evolve as we can. Does come down to resources too at the end of the day. Yeah. So, but part of our charge, since we do have that USDA facet, is we need to do all reasonable efforts to reach all people. So, yeah, you're very welcome. So we do have now we are ingrained in Orange County, and one thing that's unique about Florida is that there is an extension office in every county. So that's an extension office in 67 counties, which makes this conversation that we have very, very important today, because there might be some folks that don't know about extension. There is one in your county, and I'll go into now a little bit about what we do a little bit more specifically. So our office is one of, again, 67. We do have around 28 employees here in our office. That's county staff. That's also faculty, UF staff. We are a hybrid employee, if you will. Our major program areas are 4-H youth development, agriculture, natural resources, horticulture, and we do some community development and family consumer sciences. So I'll share. I'm just going to go on into it and share a little bit about it. So we do have our Family Consumer Sciences program. It's important to know that. So our Family Consumer Sciences team here, we're going to grow by one tomorrow. We have another extension agent that's starting. So we do have 3, but technically hasn't started yet. So we have to eliminate his picture. But through these programs, and here's some examples of the data, and we report these data back to the county, back to the university, and that also goes back to the USDA. They want to know where their money is being spent, but also too, this is the important thing here. It's important to know that 11% of Orange County residents are pre-diabetic. We have 27% of our population is overweight in Orange County, and we also have 13% of folks in Orange County that are food insecure. So our Family Consumer Science team goes back to what I was saying earlier. So think about home economics as a basic thing. I'm not trying to cheat their title here, but ag literacy, financial literacy, nutrition, health aspects. This is what they do. And so some more financial management. We also work for ServSafe certifications. First time home buyer. I know that when I bought my house though, the very first time, I was scared. What did I just get myself into and sign my name 30 to 40 times? What happens if I can't do it? So we do have programs that walk people through that, which is amazing, which I'll mention here in a second. We are the only extension office in the state of Florida that is CDC certified as a National Diabetes Prevention Program service. We just got our re-accreditation, our accreditation extended until 2028. And you can see, the graduates are pretty small, but again, it's trying to reach people. And we're so fortunate that we're able to have these. But you can see that they lowered their A1C, increased their activity. And that's amazing. That goes a long way, especially with the savings, because the majority of people that participate in this are on a fixed income. And if we can save them around $22,000 a year, that's amazing. We help with stress in that program. So we're very fortunate to have that program because that program is very impactful. Let's see here. So home buyer programs. So you can see that we have a first-time home buyer workshop. We do that in English and a separate one in Spanish. We also have RentWise. And we also have master money mentors that assist. Last year, we partnered with Orange County, the government, and we were able to have money to provide for folks. And I think a really cool stat here is that there were 357 evictions that did not occur through this program. A question was earlier is like, how can you? There's so many. We were talking about being in the community before we started here, and partnerships go a long way. We can't do it all on our own. And that's one thing about urban extension. We have to be entrepreneurial. We have to market differently. We have to do things more innovatively. And one partnership that we had was at one time Bank of America, and they're still a partner with us. And so I just wanted to highlight one program with Bank of America. And this video is filmed here at our office, and I think that you'll see the impact from the horse's mouth, from Miss Mimi.
I was really bad at the finance. This program is helping me balance a lot of my bills. While they're helping me, I can help myself.
A lot of the work I try and do is trying to help address disparities, inequalities that are occurring in a lot of our communities. And so this became a regular conversation that we had both with IFAS and then with our good friends and partners like Bank of America to say, what can we do together? In 2009, during the height of the subprime crisis, I was at a meeting with several financial institutions, having a conversation, explaining to them what University of Florida Extension thought was necessary. Bank of America was in that room. And then they said, we should talk about this. We think what you're doing makes a lot of sense. How can we help support it? And that really led to the creation of something we call the Master Money Mentor Program.
One of our goals as a company is to really help people manage their financial lives. Every person is in a different place. Every family is in a different place. And I think that partnership, that alignment back to our values, your values, the way that you all work, it just goes together so well.
I'm most passionate about providing our local families easy tips and strategies to get out of debt, pursue their goal to buying their first home.
I was living in a hotel with me and my daughter, and it was just so much bills piling up. I didn't know what to do as a young mom. So I came across the RentWise program, and I looked into it. I reached out.
RentWise is a 5-hour workshop. It's designed to walk the families through how to navigate the rental process. It gives them hope that they can start over, get their finances in order.
You know, you're listening to stuff that as a single mom, that it's helping you.
We then follow up again and ask them if they need additional financial management one-on-one. The Master Money Mentors are volunteers that go through extensive training and screening, and they provide the one-on-one financial counseling.
Now I could build. I'm getting on track. Once I got my apartment, they gave me the steps on to take, and they helped me out like a lot. Oh my God, I didn't think I was gonna do this. It's like I'm home. I'm in peace.
Bank of America has been so cooperative when it comes to partnering with us. Without their support, none of our families would be able to benefit from our workshops and most of all, the Master Money Mentor volunteers.
Our ability to be at the forefront of this work, being the leaders in innovation with this, is absolutely because of a partnership with Bank of America. Their total giving right now, just investing in us over the last 13 years, is over $1.2 million. And that's just the direct giving, let alone the type of in-kind support and other philanthropy that they may be participating in.
I'm just grateful for the opportunity that they've given us and our families. They really have reached out and helped so many families just come out of the financial burdens that they were under.
So that, did you have a question?
Yeah, I'm just thinking, you got one of these entities out here, you got a lot of people just now finding out about more. And when I mentioned the community gardens, I know very interested from the commissioners on expanding that program and getting out. And I had to tell you this funny story, being a future farmer of America, is I actually started a program in Nebraska that was already going on, just make people more aware of it, of getting kids involved in FAA, at this point. And then historical black colleges, there's a reason why they're all in them, and just, I'm glad you had that history there so people understand that at that point. So that was good. I've enjoyed. Okay, that was it.
Yes. Yeah, and just something that just for your information, if people want to do community gardens in Orange County, we are the first step, and we make sure that it's done correctly. Make sure that there's a team of people that are going to be able to work there too. But we also have a grant-funded program that is no cost to the county. It is a no cost to the University of Florida. It's all from the USDA. It's through SNAP, Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, and it's a family nutrition program. And this is really cool because they work with youth specifically for the schools that have the free reduced lunch. And you can see that like 931 youth increased vegetable consumption based on this program. And the big thing in my mind is that there were 18 school gardens alone that were created and planted. And school gardens are tough because you've got to maintain them during the school year, and sometimes you maintain them throughout the year too. So that's a struggle, but I'll show you what we do a little bit to help curb that. We do have a big agriculture, horticulture, and natural resource team. Our agents here are at the top. Just to give you a little bit of fun facts about Orange County, there's 622 farms in Orange County. But I think that the biggest thing is that there's 94% are family farms. So that's really a cool stat. However, I'll throw this in there because it's something to look at in the future. A lot of children in those family farms do not want the farm when it's done. So then what happens? The farmer or the parents, their number one priority is taking care of their family, and they're going to sell. And the kids might get a couple $1 million or whatnot from the land, but there goes another historical farm or another body of land that is agrable. And so that also is causing a lot of mental health and stress issues for farmers, enough to where we're starting to see the data show that their suicides are increasing for farmers as well. Like, what do I do if I can't even make money? Because farming is tough. Farming's tough. So just wanted to share a little bit of that. But we do partner with landscape professionals to teach them to do the right things. And I don't know if you have landscapers that do your yard work, but you want to make sure that they're doing it right and putting down the correct inputs, if inputs at all. So we do a lot of those trainings. The Florida Friendly Landscaping program is ran through the University of Florida. You have a question?
Yeah, how about co-ops
Yeah.
versus family?
Mm-hmm.
Are you still seeing that trend where a lot of families are slowly, like you said, going out? I wouldn't say going out of business, but actually co-ops coming in and taking over the farms. Is that growing, or is that?
We haven't seen it too much.
Okay.
I know that there's fleet farming in Orlando, that there's some homes that they just, here, I'm going to donate my front yard for you to grow, and then that food goes to the different type of pantries. But we don't see that too much, yeah, unfortunately. But I not to say that there's not some co-ops. I know there's probably some CSAs, community supported agricultures out there too, that's sort of a co-op where the whole bunch of farms are coming together to provide a weekly or bi-weekly package for subscribers. We did partner with Orange County Public Schools, and Hannah taught her hydroponic class to them to institute hydroponics in the classroom, something that the students can learn about science and mathematics and engineering in some cases, and growing food in the classroom. But the cool thing about that is at the end of the school year, you don't have to take care of it. So like you would an outdoor one. We do have a very talented group of Master Gardener volunteers. Here's a few of them in the bottom center picture that donate around 10 to 11,000 hours annually to give back to the community. We have a plant clinic that we have around 2,000 people that visit it each year. That's a lot. So you can bring your plants or take pictures, and if something looks gnarly, we'll help you out with that too. As I mentioned, we are the starting point for community gardens in our community. Yes.
Ask about the farms. What are they producing in Orange County?
Yeah, so the up and coming farms are going to be the smaller farms, as that stat right here says, 317 new and beginning farms. Those are going to be what we're seeing as our niche farmers. It might be one food item, and then or microgreens or berry production. We do have on our eastern part of the county, that's where we're going to have our agriculture, like traditional rural. So our hay, our cattle production. Deseret Ranch bleeds a little bit into Orange County, and that's one of the largest ranches in the U.S. For cattle. So that's what we're seeing. And on the western part, this is still a farm. It's where we're going to see a lot of our nurseries and flower type of production. So it's across the board. It used to be oranges, but we're with the greening disease that's sort of kicking that out of the way. We do have a couple of orange groves still operated as a farm here in Orange County. So those would be the main ones. But when I say the urban agriculture, it's more niche type of farmers that may go to the farmers market, not big enough that they're going to make like a big profit.
In downtown Orlando, we have what's it called, the Milk District and Lee.
Yeah.
So how important is that industry in Orange County?
The TG Lee?
The milk industry.
Yeah. It's important. I'm not seeing it too much as a what we're not seeing too much as a driver anymore. You know, it's funny that you should mention TG Lee. This used to all be TG Lee pasture, which this office is on, and we're being gobbled up. There's warehouses to my left and warehouses to my right, and that was all TG Lee property too. So at this point, I think it's going to go more into the distribution of and aggregating it from outside in. Unfortunately, but that's where we're going. But Orange County's agriculture it's deeply rooted. It's deeply rooted, and it's been so much. But now with the urban sprawl and the urban population is maximizing, it's starting to whittle out. But no, that's a great question. But JK would know more about the answers of how many times he would be called to go out and work with them. But I don't think that it's not not much anymore.
One more quick question.
Yeah.
When it comes to the migrant workers,
Okay.
do you guys interact or with the owners of the land, with the migrants of the land, or?
Yeah, we do a little bit of both. A lot of those workers only speak Spanish, one language, and we try to provide them with translated documents, or maybe even do a presentation like this, but have Spanish subtitles, just so we can provide them with a little bit more than just pictures and graphs and whatnot. We did do a scouting class and converted the whole thing into Spanish, which was great. But yeah, it gets kind of tough, especially with you got your laws that a lot of the tests of things that for pesticides have to be in English. And so it's, how do you navigate that? It's a federal requirement. Yeah. And I know we're okay. A couple more minutes. Yeah. Okay. Perfect. I do want to highlight beekeeping. This is what brings us our food, and pollinates. But we do have beekeeping classes that we do provide. But I think it's important to really let you all know is that Florida bees travel the United States annually. They are shipped around the U.S. to help pollinate crops. And I think that that's so cool. But University of Florida assisted the beekeepers, and they're usually on the western part of the state and near the Gulf. But when Hurricane Ian came through, a lot of those bees were lost, and the hives were ripped apart or underwater. University of Florida brought in bee nectar and food plots so we could try to keep those bees there. We do have a brand new apiary lab at the University of Florida, which is amazing. And we do have we have some bees here on our property, back out in right behind our 4-acre demonstration garden. So it's pretty neat. And our last program area is our 4-H program. And just to show you in the bottom right-hand corner, the right of the screen here, is that these are Orange County 4-H Club boys, and they're staging a fair. You can see all of the clovers and the items that they wanted to sell there. And that was in 1929. So 4-H has been here for a long time, especially the Smith-Lever Act that created extension was in 1914. That's huge right there. But we do have a rich 4-H program, and 4-H is all about life skills development for our youth. It could be public speaking, which we have thousands of youth that participate in that every single year in Orange County Public Schools. Last year we had around, I think, 6,000, a little bit over 6,000. We have national champion robotic team. We have an archery program that we do right here in our backfield. So it's great. We've got a really, really nice program. And then it's not always about the lambs, and we do the fair, the animals, but also too in that same parallel, we also have the citrus growing. So they all get a citrus tree and grow that, and then take notes and keep data. So this is our future generation, and we really focus on them for what's Orange County going to be in 10, 20 years. So overall highlights, just put some pictures in here just to bring some context. Urban sprawl impacts us as well. This is after Hurricane Ian. We had lakefront property and we had to grow, but also it taught us that nature is resilient. We are resilient as a community, and we can always do better. We do a peanut butter challenge every single year. This past October, we raised, let me get the number here. We had over 1,400 jars, and the number we had the year before was only 600. And though our 4-Hers donated and took those out to food pantries, we had mosquito traps that we donated to whomever wanted to come and get them after the hurricane, by a company that had given them to us. And we also noticed that people during COVID wanted to do classes virtually. Mm-hmm. And then now they want to be back in person. But then there's some that want to be back still on virtually. So we have a new classroom that has been retrofitted, and we call it our high flex classroom. So we can teach live. We have cameras in there. So for our virtual participants and in-person participants. So that's always fun. And again, here's some photos around. We do have extension solutions with Orange County TV. We we do segments every quarter, and those are aired. We have several congressmen that will come and visit us just to see what's going on in their community. There's Congressman Soto there. We don't get into the politics of everything, but we get into the realities and what we do to impact the communities, which is great. But again, Florida Friendly Landscaping is all about saving water as well. We did host the Black Meetup with FDACs, which was great. And our agents are so talented. They're given national awards, state awards, national presentations, even international presentations of just what's going on in Orange County. And I came in here in 2020 with these 3 goals, and our goals are still the same. We want to make sure that our marketing is continually getting out there. We want to increase our collaboration. It's about working smarter, not harder, and partnering with people and other organizations. You're doing this, we're doing this. Let's get better. Let's do some great things together. We're trying to get out of the best kept secret, but I think we're making some strides. And lastly, if you want to scan the QR code, that'll take you to our Eventbrite page, which has all of our programs. But the big thing is that we love what we do. We're a part of our community. We walk the streets just like you. We visit the same vendors and restaurants and grocery stores, and we love it. And this is our new director, Dr. Andre Johnson, on the right over here. And we were taking a photo with them, and then the question was asked, is this, what extension office is this? And we all said, this is the number 1 extension office. So, but I thank you for your time. I appreciate it, and I love the engagement. So thank you.